Welcome to the Chip and Cern Show, the podcast about everything and nothing at the same time. They were possibly separated at birth, only to be rejoined to create the sweet sounds that will caress your deepest cochlea. The show is real, random, rant-filled, and ruthless. Please be warned that the show may hurt your feelings, offend your grandma, and even kick your dead dog in the balls. So get ready, and let's get this shit started.
This shit has started. I am Chip.
I'm Cern.
And you are listening to the Chip and Cern Show, home of the Chip and Cern Show, a home of Chip and Cern.
Yeah, there you go.
And Chip's Christmas tree, as you are seeing on the 360 video.
Looks very nice, very festive. Now,
A little early, premature.
premature, yes.
Story of my life.
That's what you said.
Yeah. Was that an appropriate or inappropriate segue into a sexual harassment podcast?
Appropriate foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, we're yeah. So I guess if you've been tuned on any
6 seconds. I was gonna say.
okay, Cerny, we're not trying to make light of this. This is a very serious
You're right.
topic. Sometimes we don't dabble in the serious too often, but
It's not really our strong point, but we'll step out of the comfort zone, I think.
Yeah, just when the time comes.
When the headlines are hot,
Yeah.
we'll strike. Strike when the iron's hot.
Oh, we need the downloads, basically,
Yeah.
is what Cerny's trying to say.
Fish where the fish are.
Yeah. Fish where the fish are. So,
Okay.
since, I'm going to be using data from the NewYorkTimes.com.
Okay.
And Cerny, you have
Business Insider, yes.
both very reputable,
Yes.
I'm going to say legit news, despite what some fucking Cheeto
Fake news.
Cheeto in chief says, fucking idiot. Since October 5th, I'm going to say, is when this whole sexual harassment, sexual misconduct.
May have been looming before with Bill Cosby.
Yes. I would say the wave of the victims speaking out.
The snowball started to pick up steam.
I think there was a hashtag, it's called hashtag Me Too.
Me too, yes.
And that TOO, me as well, I believe, is how grammatically, not me too.
Two. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or, anyway.
Me as well.
Me as well. So where women would share sort of their stories about, hey, it's not just you who had maybe at work a guy or girl grabbed your ass or something as you went by. It happens to a lot of women.
Yes.
And it also, I was on Twitter checking it out. It also really brought to light, like, wow, this happens a lot. Not as much as I, would expect. It was very powerful, I think, to see that.
So I think at least in where I work, it's not, I don't see it. But again, I know it happens, but it's just, we're not.
Yeah, and then Cerny and I were sort of talking a little bit before. Some of the alleged things that are happening here are just obviously very despicable and everything. We were saying like, as guys, we think, there's sort of the locker room talk and this sort of thing. But most of those end as with a thought in your head, we'll be out and a girl will walk by and you'll, great boobs or something, or look at that ass. But that's in your head, or I'll nudge Cerny or something.
Yeah.
And that's as far as it goes. And that's all. For us. But a lot of these allegations and, facts as we're seeing for some of them are pretty gnarly.
Yes.
Rapes, sexual assaults and harassments, and dozens of people like masturbating in front of people.
I don't like
that's
never.
never
Had the urge for stuff when you're jerking it. Usually, you like the privacy.
Yeah.
You don't want people watching. But
I think so. The accusations and the people accusing Harvey Weinstein was kind of what really got the ball rolling with empowering sort of these victims to kind of come forward.
The Weinstein ripple effect.
There you go. So that was kind of on October 5th. And then from there, Weinstein pretty much, I wouldn't say he admitted to anything. Oh, he denied the accusations of non-consensual sex, but he's apologized for the way he's behaved.
Yes.
Which, that's kind of bullshit. He got fired from his company that he co-founded and all this stuff, which is great. I think it's good, the swift actions and the axe that's coming down on some of these people.
I agree.
But the punishments that's rained down on these creeps, starting pretty much in October, and I guess Bill Cosby.
It's like a new one every day.
It is. Every day there's something new that pops up, and it sucks because there's people on here, some of them I've never heard of, like Andy Signor, VP of Defy Media. Like, okay, but these are very powerful men that are obviously using their power and industry ties for
some of them. Like I said,
things.
We were talking in the pre-production. I'm not surprised. Some of them, like when they got named, I was like, yeah. I figured. It was only a matter of time.
Totally. And from what I understood about the Harvey Weinstein, Cerny and I, this might not be surprising. We're not Hollywood types. No. We're not in with the peeps.
We're usually regularly left off of the invites to the parties.
Email chains. Never been to the Viper Room before. And I guess it was kind of everyone knew that this was Harvey Weinstein. There was jokes, oh, you don't want to take a meeting alone with Harvey Weinstein. Like, these were jokes that were being gone around, and people have gone and found clips of TV shows that lasted one season. They were
Family Guy is notably. Some of them, I remember. So I'll jump in just one example. I do remember the episode where Stewie is running through the mall naked and he's screaming, "Help! Help! I just escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement." And I remember seeing that, going, "Huh? What the fuck does that have to do?" I remember. Right. I mean, I laughed because it was kind of funny, but at the same time, I remember thinking in my head, "What does it have to do with anything?" Kind of thing. But now, as this comes down, like,
now everyone's privy to what he's been up to.
Yes.
We don't need to go line by line on some of these, but there's a tech guy in here, Robert Scoble. He is a tech blogger and co-founder, and someone wrote a big post about how he was really drunk and he came up and he was making out with a girl, grabbing her breast, and he was married and she was married at the time, and she was trying to get away, but he kept grabbing her and stuff. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And now some of these,
Ben Affleck. I'm looking at Ben Affleck.
He
preemptively
sort of apologized because he knew he had done
Hillary
something.
Burton accused him of groping her breasts during an interview in 2003.
Yeah. Now the one that was, I don't want to say tough, but it sucks when people, or Kevin Spacey's an example. I really liked him as an actor, right? But to hear that people you sort of look up to and you admire are really fucking dirtbags and creeps.
Yeah, devious.
You're like, and I see how people, I'm sure maybe he's a nice guy, but obviously he's not. He has sexual misconduct allegations against him with a minor.
Now, was it true they had to have a safety meeting on the set of House of Cards or something?
Yeah, there was something like that I was reading whatever article about it, and there were stories that he in a bar, Kevin Spacey would go up to a guy and just like grab your dick.
Yeah.
And like, let's go to the bathroom, and they're like, no. And then that was like, whoa. I mean, that would not. If a guy did that to a random chick in the bar, you would hope the guy next to her would fucking knock that full out,
or slap in the face, drink in the face.
Yeah. Now Kevin Spacey's excuse of, I don't remember, I was drunk. By the way, I'm gay. Ooh, that did not sit very well with the LGBT community.
No.
LGBTQ community. And that was a very poor way to handle it, in my opinion. I'm not his spokesperson, but
it's almost like he tried to hide behind or just.
It's like, hey, look over here. Almost as if he wanted to be sort of celebrated a little bit for it.
I'm coming out. Yeah.
No. And the minor thing, I would say that's inexcusable. I mean, that is inexcusable, especially when you're, into your 30s or something. If we're talking, there's all, I don't want to say case by case. If it's a minor and you're an adult, that's wrong.
Yeah. Usually if it's like 18 and 17 or something. Come on.
That's what I'm kind of saying, right? I'm not trying to make excuses, but
yeah, but if you're 26 and there's a 16-year-old, then you
right,
check
go
yourself.
fuck yourself, or you're running for a Senate seat, and
Roy Moore, who's next on the list. We're going to talk about
God.
Right now because Chipper just alluded to that.
Andy Dick, not surprised. I mean, that's been I
swear that's been going on since, like I said, since Tom Green was on air. He was having issues with.
Right, and Andy Dick's he's a fucking train wreck.
Roy Price, the head of Amazon Studios.
Oh, yes, I scrolled by that one. Brent Ratner, rape, sexual assault, harassment of 6 women, including exposing himself and masturbating. So he got fired, or he stepped away from some activities.
What is it with these people and masturbating in front of somebody? I don't.
So that brings me to Louis C.K., comedian. I love his work. I think he's really funny. He's been in movies, and his show Louis was really good. And
you see, I must admit,
you weren't a fan.
I was never really a fan. I didn't like his style. I mean, it wasn't for me.
It's a style, but
it's really dry-ish kind of. It wasn't my thing.
Yeah, and just kind of that storyteller.
And yeah, I'm not a huge. You're not
a huge storyteller guy. But yeah, and I've kind of found myself, and this is sort of, I think, where we have to be, or I have to be a little bit better about, just because I like the person, I found myself almost sort of making excuses a little bit for him. Like, oh, well, that was a couple of years ago. Maybe he's changed, or, oh, he did ask permission before he bust his cock out and started jerking it. And it was like, oh, no, I'm making excuses. He's a bad person, and I just should accept that. Yeah, I don't.
He's got. Oh, how would I say it? Like a sexual deviant, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It is I guess it's sort of like a fetish. I don't know. As you mentioned, Cerny, masturbating is something. I mean, that I do in the privacy. Obviously,
I don't want anybody
pre-show work, but like
that's why Chip and I don't shake hands before.
only lefty handshakes.
No one anybody watching.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you feel disgusted. You're like, oh.
That's mostly because the type of porn I'm watching. But, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, I wouldn't, unless she's like, I would really like you to jerk off in front of me. I don't think I could I couldn't bring myself to do it almost. I don't know.
I think even if
it was a request, special request.
I mean, that's too much pressure. That's
I would.
Like, I got to go to the big stage here. Oh. Whiskey dick.
Is the AC on? It's freezing in here. I can't.
What was that noise? Let me go check that out.
Check it out. Now, yeah, Louis C.K. was unfortunate, and I will say, out of all of them, he had the biggest balls, and he said, "These are all true. I'm very sorry, and I'm gonna take a step back and like invest. Sort of look a lens at myself, and do that." So I thought he was the biggest, if you want to say the biggest man about it. Netflix fucking dropped him in like a day.
Just as they did with House of Cards with Spacey.
Yep. So that show is probably getting long in the tooth anyway.
I never even watched it. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, it's really strong.
Okay.
But that Baby Driver movie that Spacey was in as well, we watched that, and all I could think is the driver is like this kid that's 18 or something, this boy, and I'm like, poor fucker.
I'm loving it.
And I saw an interview with somebody that was in the movie as well, and the interview was happening just right after the allegations came out, and they asked him, and they're like, well, did you see anything? And he goes, well, I like really looked up to him as an actor and everything, but how I saw him treat people.
I heard he was a douche.
Yeah. He rubbed me the wrong way is what he said.
Yeah.
And he goes, if I saw him treat a woman the way he was treating some people on set, I would have gone up and said something. And I'm like, damn. So if he's treating guys, differently. So
I heard he's a big douche.
Yeah. Now,
which, if you think about it, when you see these people that are really douchey, like that, it's like I always think why. I think it takes more, at least for me. I mean, maybe more effort to be a douche. I mean, I know if things, I know like you can ask, I'm sure AT&T or DirecTV, when things aren't going well, I can get pretty douchey, but that's usually, I don't usually start off douchey. It's like
it's easier to be nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll usually get off topic here, but I'll usually go on the phone. I'm like, okay, I always say, I know it's not you, and I'm getting upset, and I know you're just a poor fucker that answered the phone.
Yeah.
But bear with me here because this is,
right.
But usually it's usually I don't start off douchey, and but if we're not simpatico on our wavelengths and we're an hour into this and I start to get a little agitated, then I can start being douchey. I get that, but just to be a douche, no.
I do the same thing when I'm on the phone with Comcast because I'll get and then I'll come back with these like really cutting fucking remarks and I'll say one. I'll be like, I'm really sorry. That wasn't meant. I'm just very frustrated with the situation. I'm sorry. And then, So, Roy Moore.
Speaking
of a douche. So he is a Alabama judge and a politician. He's running for a seat on the Senate.
Yes.
And he has 5 sexual misconduct allegations against him with teenagers. And this was, he's an old fuck. Now he's probably 60, I would say.
He's an old fuck.
Yeah. But these were when he was 32.
Old AF.
He was 32 or in his early 30s, and these girls were 16, under 18. And he's saying, oh, no, this is a political attack. And I think the real scary thing here is it's becoming a thing of, we always bust Dana and Joe's balls about, they're Niners fans. And it's kind of ride or die no matter. The season's shitty, they don't care. They're still rooting for them and all this.
Yes.
Politics, for some reason, does the same thing to people.
And that shouldn't be the case.
That's not how it should be.
Because, so we'll go on the opposite end.
Yeah.
Roy Moore obviously isn't with at least CERN.
Yeah,
we all know
he doesn't align with
Chip and CERN.
Or, yeah.
Al Franken aligns pretty well.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, come on, dude.
That was yeah, for sure. And so I was gonna.
I saw him. I was like, oh, come on, dude. And then and on the maybe the flip side, like with Louis C.K. because I was a big, like, all right, I like what he's doing, and then you did that, like, I remember thinking, you just fucked up everything that you've done.
Right. All the
and
good.
I get you did this previous and and whatnot. And again, the joke, I don't necessarily agree with the. Well, it was a joke. I get it, but I mean, at the same point, again, I wouldn't think if I stuck my finger, in some girl's butt or something, and was walking by like, oh, and then it was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. No, it doesn't. That's not a.
I've never had that impulse,
Yeah, and that's not an acceptable joke. It's not a. Your mother's fat or something. I don't know. The Al Franken one. Now, they'll say the what's the word? The snowflake liberals will come. They don't want to prosecute Franken because he's a liberal, so they'll let it slide. But Roy Moore, and we're like, hold on, these allegations against Roy Moore are pedophile. He's a pedophile.
I would think even worse. I mean, I know it's all bad, but when we get down to pedophilia, I think it's worse.
If you're like going...
And didn't they have the Alabama, one of the police officers say that they were told to keep Roy Moore away from the high school?
Oh, I don't...
I think I read that.
And I also saw... Yeah, I've been reading a little bit on it as well. I'm trying to be more woke. And I'm reading the Times and the Post and shit.
There you go.
And... people from his hometown, because it's like a small hometown, said, oh, I remember seeing him when he was in his 30s, like the way he would go to the YMCA a lot, and like the way that he looked at the younger girls was just creepy, is what people said about him. And I'm like, yeah, that's...
And when they... For as old as this motherfucker is...
That's like a 30-year memory.
Yeah. And, I mean, back then, I think... it was a little more acceptable if Mad Men hasn't taught us anything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're staring at kids and it's creeping them out back then, you must have been really all going on.
Right. And that's back when your secretary would put her bosoms in your face because you had a couple two martinis.
Dick second.
The Al Franken thing, I don't know. I mean, the real sad thing is, we won't kind of harp on this point. It could be a whole nother podcast. But the way that just because most people, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, I'm 100% in this camp, or like you should be looking at it not as a red and a blue thing, but
what it is.
Anyone who's accused of pedophilia, we're not talking a 5-year-old or something, but under 18, when you're 30-something, that's unacceptable. And you shouldn't stand by him just because he's a Republican or he's a Democrat. That's ridiculous.
And I know, when these things happen, say, well, I don't want to get like our one interaction with somebody when they say, you don't know because you haven't lived it. Hey, I know, but conceptually I understand.
Yeah. Now, Charlie Rose, do you watch John Oliver show?
No.
Do you have HBO?
No.
I'll swing in the login credentials.
Okay. Sweet.
But John Oliver will do these kind of quick take little 30-second sort of exposés like, he'll cut up all the Guy Fieri clips of him going flame broiled or some shit, and they'll do like 2 minutes of him just flame broiled and all this stuff. So they did one, and this was months ago, of Charlie Rose being really creepy.
Okay.
And it was, I was watching it with my wife, and I'm like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, this old-ass dude was like, yeah, you know how to work those hips and stuff, to his co-host and shit. I was like, whoa, fucking rails are off there. Anyway, so I guess no one's surprised. Groping, lewd phone calls, and then, he had his dick out of his robe, or he had a robe and he came to someone's dressing room and he's sitting there with his fucking his old ass donger hanging out.
Have you noticed this a lot on these accusations, at least on some that I've read? They all start with them like in a robe. Like it's nothing good to start with a robe. Maybe somebody comes out, so-and-so enters the room in a robe.
Now, does that make us good people? Because I've never even considered owning a robe.
Neither have I.
It just seems like wasteful.
I'm not Hugh Hefner.
Right.
And so
and I'm not
I sweat a lot.
Exposing my genitals to people or jerking off in front of strangers.
No. And I sweat a lot, so they're kind of hot. So usually I don't.
And when are you going to be in this robe? Post shower? Don't you want to get dressed right then?
That's usually
I don't have a lot of lounging time available.
I dry and then get my clothes on and then off to whatever.
I could maybe see if this is the only thing I could. Oh, the fucking camera! I don't know what the fuck's going on with this thing. Cerny, what's the deal with Samsung?
So I'm actually battling Samsung as we speak.
Ooh,
my fridge is
shit in the bricks,
freezing my food. My refrigerator is freezing my food.
Interesting.
So I got into an argument with the guy. Mm-hmm. This is one of those moments where I got douchey because I said, I have a problem. And they said,
but you didn't jerk off in front of them?
No.
Okay.
I just was telling him that my refrigerator is freezing my food, and the guy said, so your freezer is freezing your food. And I said, I would hope my freezer is freezing my food. It's my refrigerator.
Wait, this happened a while ago, right?
Yeah, and it's still
reoccurring.
They came out and they fixed it because I got like ultra douchey.
Yeah.
Because they said, well, it's past a year. It was a month past a year when it happened. So you're not in warranty. I said, this motherfucking fridge should work more than a year. So they came out and they fixed it. Freezing again. So actually I got a new fridge.
Nice.
Got a new fridge, and now I'm in the works.
Like a replacement?
Yeah. Well, I bought it, and now I'm fighting with because it's just freezing. It's just not even
right. You don't want to ruin your food.
Exactly. So and I'm trying to make them pay for it, reimburse me.
I like it.
Like what? We digress.
Robes. The only thing I could say, not that Chip and Cern are getting that many spa days.
No. I don't think I've ever. Have you ever been to a spa? Like
I've like gotten a massage before, but not like like my wife just went to one.
Oh.
And they have a hot pool, and like I saw her in a robe. But I guess that kind of makes sense if you're going from a pedicure and manicure to the spa to the pool.
I get it.
That's a woman as well. I don't know when I would.
I've gotten a massage before,
but you're not.
But I haven't done a spa. It was just like one of those.
Yeah, just massage and
deep
or
tissue because
like
my back was all fucked up or something. So they sent me actually.
Now, we'll say I've had opportunities to be in robes, and the hotel. Some of the little bit nicer, not a Motel 6, but like the Hampton Inn or something.
I put them on as I was horsing around.
Just to be funny.
Yeah, but I had clothes on still. I think I had like a t-shirt and shorts, but I was just put them on and then I took it off. I was like, fuck that.
It doesn't provide warmth.
No.
It doesn't provide like protection from the elements.
It's really drafty.
Are you supposed to fill free ball in that thing? Well, I guess apparently if you're exposing yourself to your co-hosts on CBS and PBS.
And in trailers.
Crazy. Well, I would like to say and hope that this will be the last. These are the last allegations, but I don't think that that will be the case.
So hold on, let me think. I wouldn't be
by the end of the year. So let's say another month.
Well, Donald Trump's got to be accused at least. I mean,
he has. Yeah.
So
and that's another thing. That's anyway. That I guess we shouldn't go. So there's. In the New York Times article, and this is updated November 21st, so, a couple days ago, there's 34 men, sort of their fallout from lewd text to rape after Weinstein is the article, and this is on the Times. So let's just say there's 34 according to this New York Times. It's going to be 50.
I'm hoping, okay, I'm not hoping. I'm guessing Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. It looks like he's grew up a few in his life.
Yeah. Now this hasn't
a shocker. Steve Buscemi. I don't know that for the fact. Please don't say Steve Buscemi. You're not going to get $1 out of us. But
yeah. Now one thing I could have swore that Axl Rose or Gene Simmons, like all these rock stars, would have tons of accusations, but I guess it's more consensual.
Yeah.
Or you had so much fucking drugs, no fucking idea what was going on.
Yeah, they doped up the girls so they would never remember anyway.
Yeah. Now, do you foresee now that this is kind of this big momentum shift has happened and the victims are very empowered, which I think is good.
Yes.
Do you think there's going to be clawbacks to Cosby at all? Like he got off pretty much, like more or less.
He's forgotten at the moment. I think he'll come back. Now I predict in what happens, so there's a big momentum shift, right? Yeah. It'll be a moment of, so after we get through a lull,
okay,
and then we'll have males accusing females of power.
Oh, interesting. I would say the scales are very, like it will be 5 guys or something that say,
and they're going to be like this,
right?
I mean,
what's it's going to be? Who's that big? Liza Lampanelli or something?
Yeah, like, and again, because it's just, the whole women in the workplace, and as far as power positions, historically in time, is not as long as.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
But still, we'll see a few.
But
I think.
Yeah, that's true. Well, again, this is sort of a touchy, serious subject that we don't dive into too much, and we hope
we don't have to too much.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that I would rather have all these creeps exposed, whether it's my favorite movie star or my childhood hero growing up in the sports. I'm sure it's true. I just it's only a matter of time. So I think they should be exposed, and the justice should be swift and severe.
I do like.
That's my
like the quick. Gone.
Fuck them.
Gone.
There's and they now what I'm worried about is, 5 years comes by in space. He's like, I'm fixed and all this stuff. Like, well, are you? What the second chance sort of thing come around? But hopefully that doesn't happen. But
true.
Anyway. Yeah. Well, if you like serious episodes,
let us know.
Yeah, send us some feedback. We can always dive in.
Facebook, Twitter, email.
Yeah,
Chip and Cern Show. Anything. The email is chipandcernshow@gmail.com. Instagram. We're on Instagram.
Yep. Oh yeah, we are.
So we've actually had a couple of emails this past.
Well, yeah, violations, YouTube violations.
We didn't have a YouTube violation, but it was okay. We got a little interaction. I got excited.
I'll take the visit. I'll take the visit.
I got an email from what? It's live?
YouTube wants to take your video down and sue you. Oh, shit. Okay. Turn off the mics.
We're going dark.
Anyway, don't forget we still have hats and T-shirts and all that jazz. And
Black Friday sale.
The stuff. Yeah, it's going. It's going. And until next time, I'm Chip.
I'm Cern.
Cheers.